Can you hear me?
Can't hear it.
You can't hear me? Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, so I can't hear myself. There we go. I can hear myself now. Sorry. My bad. Hopefully, Green Bay Wacky will rejoin. There he is.
I'm here, but can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, buddy. How are you?
But you couldn't hear me before.
Yeah, that was my fault. Technical error there on my side.
Oh, okay. You can hear me now.
I hear you perfectly.
All right. Are we live?
We're live.
Oh, I got to go to your channel and see if there's a. Okay. I got
to do the same.
Pop up a chat.
Yep.
Rebel State Sovereign. Let's see.
Today's topic is going to be pretty easy. It's just going to do technology revolution that we're really in right now that nobody really talks about. Let's see if I can find. If I can pull.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Let's see. I mean, technology revolution. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I've got a chat popped out. Okay, all right. Is anyone in here? Let's see.
Yeah, Dark's here. Big Guys is here. Jay Harvey.
I see that now. I just got the chat. All right, yep. Cheers. Good day, mates.
And looks like Dark's leaving. Oh no, he's staying. Okay, good. Just talking about technology revolution in 2018. That was kind of the topic I wanted to talk about today. I know a lot of people haven't really suggested or mentioned it or talked about it. Usually a technology revolution is a relative short period of history when one technology or a better set of technologies is replaced by another technology or by a set of technologies. Similar to what we had in the Industrial Revolution we had here in America and around the world, but mostly in America is the one I'm kind of referring to. And with these technologies that we're experiencing right now we're living it. I mean, most people know it as the information age, or also known as the computer age, the digital age, or the new media age. This period in human history characterizes a shift from traditional industry that the Industrial Revolution brought through industrialization to an economy based of information technology. Now, with that said, there's billions of dollars that are being traded per day, just in public offerings, with all these new startup companies. I mean, even from the 90s when you had the dot-com bubble that did happen, say around, I don't know, 90s, 95, mid-90s. But the things that I'm looking at is just unbelievable. The World Wide Web's been around for like 25 years. The internet's been around for like 45 years, and I'm looking at some of the technologies that are out and about. It's just unbelievable, man. It's crazy.
I wasn't told the topic before we got on.
No. I mean, this.
No, wait. Are we going to E equals MC squared? Also?
No, we're not going to go that far with it. We're not going to go that far. I'm thinking. I want to ask your opinion, like on a couple of things. What do you think? How long? All right. So you've seen some of these new technologies where people can communicate in different languages, right? Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen where you just take your phone and you just, it's in pretty soon they could put a chip in your head and you could it would be like Star Trek.
Right.
I mean, well, it's already here, universal translators kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Universal translators. Exactly. We usually Babelfish. They get the name Babel from Babylon from the biblical days. But I'm looking at how long before we can actually communicate with animals, not just dolphins. We're learning those languages and stuff. But how
Let
long?
me just say hi to Maurice Cooper and Drone Wolf Media, by the way.
Yeah, I was doing this.
Well, we can already communicate with animals. I mean, Dory speaks whale, remember?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, honestly, how long before we're able to do that?
I don't know. I know that some of the, I don't know, but some of the gorillas, they've done sign language and stuff.
And that gorilla actually taught her child how to speak sign language.
I haven't really done a hard look at that. It's kind of scary in some ways.
It is. I mean, when will at that point, once we're able to communicate with an animal, how long before they have rights?
Wow.
International rights. You know what I mean?
Well, what does this Gaz and Dark have to explain later? It's like
I don't know, but they'll definitely chat at me later, I'm sure.
No, we.
I think it's an interesting topic. I don't know, and I look at things that keep me up at night are not like the crazy things that most people stay up at night for.
Well, first of all, there are already rights for animals now. It's just that they could take them to a new level. That would be, I mean, right. They could take it to a new level where you'd have to ask a cow, like, "Excuse me, Mr. Cow, do you mind if I butcher you and eat you? Because I need a hamburger today."
Or the milk,
Can I take your milk, Mrs. Cow? No, you can't.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I'd ask. I mean, I mean. Sorry, you know me. I'm going to bring a light side to this.
Right.
I didn't know what we were going to talk about. Yeah, technology. I got to admit, it's pretty crazy because there's more power in this S7 Edge phone than the first 286 computer that I had back in the 90s for my restaurant with the old style printer with the holes in it. They still use those, but this phone probably, and that thing cost me like $3,000. Big computer. Remember the 486 DX? Yeah.
Most of all those old computers.
I think we had Windows 95 on that.
Yeah, I've got a few of those. Yeah. I'm curious, I would love to see, I would like to actually present a platform where people could actually talk about a couple other little things that, that kind of sparked my interest also. Like, why aren't new homes being built more on the green side? Why are, I'm not just saying legislation, but why don't they push, it doesn't have to go to legislation, it doesn't have to be forced, but why aren't we trying to do better for the world? I mean, there's new homes being built in America every day. Why aren't we trying to put solar panels on these houses, do solar farms, do there's so many different ways, geothermal, AC, heating, etc. Why aren't we implementing these technologies that are already there and that are already proven? I don't know.
Well, some of that probably is they don't want to install that right away. They want to sell it to you.
Well, I mean, if you're building a new home, why don't those standards be there? Why isn't there a big thermal mask on an envelope of a home? A good sealed home that uses less resources. We're talking about just electricity. We'll just use electricity. But I won't get into water and heat recovery of water and everything else. I mean, there's ways to do things that could be more efficient worldwide. I mean, you can take there's people who live in the desert, and I'm talking about major deserts that we know, like in Africa. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't have AC in their homes, but they're able to use their environment to build tall towers that collect wind. Yeah, it collects sand sometimes too, and those towers can rotate to collect the wind to actually do convection to send the air down low into a basement cellar kind of area to cool it, to bring it back up through the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on where you're located on the globe. If you're building for those systems, and drone Drone Wolf Media is exactly, man. You can't harvest rainwater in a lot of places. I mean, there was a company I watched that had a car wash. Yeah,
in some places
it is, and that's hey, man, it's against the law to like in Florida. Like here's Florida. It's known as the Sunshine State, right? And they're not allowed to put solar panels on their house and actually collect the energy.
What?
Right. I mean, they can't put it in battery form or whatever. It should be that way. Bandit Hayes is in the house. Everybody. Frozen Furry 09, Drone Wolf Media, Lovely Kid Japan, Maurice Cooper, and a few others that come and gone. Glad they're there. Yeah, Lovely Kid, you can't harvest rainwater in some parts of this country. It's sad.
Wow, they're like controlling the water. Pretty soon it'll be air.
There's already that. I mean, they've been trying to pass a carbon tax for quite some time. Be prepared for that.
Every day that you're alive, if you're breathing air on this planet, we get some money out of you.
Yeah, but I mean, there's technologies to make a house better. I mean, why are we still using technology from our great grandfathers on building homes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I live in the deep South, and it's a humid climate, and a lot of the South is like that. There's ways if you can just take the humidity out of the air, it makes it more comfortable for people to live, whether it's a dehumidifier, whatever. But the old technology of, I don't know how your house is built, but most houses are built like this here. They have soffits on the side of a house that allow cool air to come in, to go through a ridge vent to ventilate the attic. And these attics get 150 degrees roughly, depends on where you live, you know what I mean, on the planet. But it's easy for them to do that, to reach those temperatures. If you make the roofs, basically if you could afford closed cell like spray foam or an open cell foam, spray foam, if you condition an attic, if you're going to put, because architects and engineers don't get along, so sometimes they just go, okay, architects is, the architect's making something beautiful. He works with nature. He positions a house so that maybe it'll work, some kind of passive system with the house, so that if you're in the southern hemisphere, I'm talking about northern hemisphere of the United States, but in the southern part of the United States, that you're south, you can use light, to come in from the southern side to do two things: A, to give you light, so you don't have to use much electricity, and B, to heat your home in the winter because of how far you bring out an overhang on a house. But if you condition an attic with spray cell foam, and because a lot of people in the South, unfortunately, they're still doing this, is ridiculous. They put air conditioning units in the attic, the hottest part of the house. They're sticking them up there, and they've been doing that for so long. It's pathetic. Lovely Kid Japan said, "What's wrong with harvesting water?"
Yeah.
The United States government and some counties and states have kind of banned it. I don't see anything wrong with harvesting, but they want it to be able to go back and flow naturally in nature.
Right.
That's what they're saying.
By the way, is my screen working the way I intended?
Yes.
I am on here then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I decided to switch to OBS. It was better looking.
Yeah. You got a little universe going in the background there.
Yeah, why not? We're talking about technology, right? Yeah. So,
Drone Wolf Media says basically we're going to have to reset our government and start over. There's way too much government control and absolutely everything's in our lives. Yes. I don't know how we reset it. I think there needs to be less government. I mean, you go back 100, 150 years ago, only a handful of people worked for the government. You know what I mean? And that was upper government. That's our real legislation, our president, vice president, and some cabinet members. Yeah. And now they've created jobs for people, because
you can't be fired generally ever, like unless you're like really bad.
Yeah. I mean, if you get a good government job, you basically have a lifetime career. It's like winning the lottery. It's like being royalty. And Bandit Hazel, no man, he knows. It's like being royalty in an English family.
Why Bandit is?
Well, he's English.
No, I thought you were talking about the government job, like you had one.
No.
No, okay, sorry, the way you said that.
Yeah, he's in the chat here. He's a phenomenal YouTuber, man. You'll like him. You got to check out his channel for sure. Bradley Meeks here. Helga's Pennsylvania Cooking. Some good people. I think it's hard to reset our government. But if you go back 150 years ago, only so many people worked for the government. Now, the taxpayers pay their salary. There's going to be a point where we're shifting there now, where there's more government employees than there are taxpayers. Once we get over 60%, maybe 70%, there won't be enough taxpayers because the government doesn't produce or make anything.
Oh, net neutrality, frozen fury. People don't understand how dangerous net neutrality is.
Yes.
Now, granted, net neutrality is not really a technology thing, though. Kind of like your topic you were talking about.
It kind of is, though. And we're talking about information,
Well, give me the name of the topic again. I don't have it in front of me. What's
Technology Revolution 2018?
Technology Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get. Well, okay, it would be upgraded technology to do it, but it's more of a control thing. It's more of net neutrality is more of a control issue. I mean, yes, okay, you could argue that the technology's there to do it, but it's a control issue to censor everybody, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's how they always pass it. They give these great names that sound amazing. Net neutrality. Who doesn't like net neutrality? You know what I mean? It sounds great, but no.
Well, you see, they always do it in the name of righteousness, and they get the people that can get snowed by it because they say, well, think about it. If we can. Think about it, we can eliminate all these pornographic websites and all these, they just throw, we could throw out, terrorists. They just throw horrible reasons out why it's a great thing. And then everyone's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden they go to search for stuff. Hey, why can't I find that anymore? Where'd that go? Where'd that go? Where'd that go?
Yeah.
Well, because, they took it. They control you.
Bandit says last year the FCC voted to repeal net neutrality, but there still might be some hope.
Well, I think they do it anyway. You see, I think the people think about it. If you think about Google or Bing or any search engine, like, are you there with them? Like, do you really know that you're getting, your searches for things? You trust them? Seriously? They just tell you, oh yeah, we're on the up and up with that. I'll give it a prime example. I mean, the other that lawsuit that came out with that T-Mobile, that 40 million, that thing was like squashed all over the place.
Yeah. I do like the president of T-Mobile though. And they just got together with Sprint.
No, the story about how they were doing false ringtones. Oh, maybe you didn't hear the story. Didn't you hear that? You didn't know that story or what happened?
I've heard some of it. Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, it affects me actually because it started in Wisconsin. Very simple. You call someone, right? Like I call Rebel State Sovereign. Ring, 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 ring. Oh crap! Rebel must be busy. He's not picking up. Okay, well, sorry. Right? Well, what T-Mobile was doing is they had areas in the rural areas, especially out in Wisconsin, where they don't have good cell phone towers, bad signal. So they faked you out. Instead of letting you know that there was no calls going through, they fake you with a ringtone so you think you're not getting a hold of someone. It was awful because really what it amounts to, I mean, I know it's a horrible scenario. Your wife's at home having a baby and you got to call for an ambulance.
Right.
You're driving home in your pickup truck. Molly, are you there? I'll get and you can't get through.
Have you looked at any of the new Google AI stuff?
Yeah. 40 million they had to pay, by the way. Yeah, 40 million. But the story got squashed on YouTube and all that.
John Wolf brought up his opinion. He said we need to stop 5G from being implemented. And said it's scary technology. It's microwave technology.
Oh, 5G on your phone and all devices?
Yes.
I've heard about it. Now it's gonna give off different waves, similar to a microwave.
That's what he's saying. I don't know how true that is. I do know that countries and areas that have better cell phone service, better connection with technology do thrive better, whether it's schools or just people wanting to learn in general. Because a lot of people are self-taught. Autodidact? Is that what it's called, I believe?
I'm self-taught, everything.
There you go. But the areas that have the capabilities to reach the internet, basically the internet. Let's just go there. That's what it is. People who can reach these internets, those first world countries thrive more than third world countries that doesn't have service in that capacity. But I agree, microwave technology is very scary. Phones are very scary. If you ever saw the movie Thank You for Smoking?
No.
There was a guy who was a smoking advocate. He worked for Big Tobacco at the time, and as you know, tobacco, firearms, and what is it? ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. You know, the tobacco was killing more people than firearms and and alcohol together combined at one time. But those are like the big killers, you know, those three, ATF.
I was reading Frozen Fury's comment there, and that's the same as them trying to end gun crimes.
Yeah.
Control. It's impossible to end. It as you can control everything as everyone will do it anyways. Yeah. I always look at things like that, though. I just look at different levels of it. There's the media version, the public version, the underground version, the black market version. Everything that we talk about has a version to it,
Yeah, Drone Wolf brings up a good point. I mean, that's the thing. This is something that since we're talking about technology revolutions.
Yeah.
He said the Internet of Things, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with that yet, but it's using millimeter microwave technology, the same as the government uses for crowd control.
Oh.
But with the Internet of Things, all your devices, like in the back here, your home alarm, your security, maybe your fish tanks, anything that's electrical, your I don't know, man, your dishwasher, your refrigerator, all these things will be able to be serviced via Wi-Fi to turn on and off and to control, basically to limit how much energy you use or to say when this thing needs to be serviced. It's kind of like how cars advanced over, let's call it the last 40 years, you know what I mean? Now you got these idiot lights that all come on to let you know, hey, there's something wrong with the car because there's just sensors, you know what I mean? There's so many sensors.
Cars advanced? I thought they de-evolved, actually.
You think? It's harder for us to work on them, you know what I mean?
Go ahead. But you're riding a 72 Cadillac that's purring like a kitten. It's no different than driving in a car of today. The engine runs smooth as can be with that old carburetor.
I agree with that 100%.
And I can work on it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like the new ones have all these sensors, and usually it's a sensor that goes bad. You know what I mean?
It's actually created its own economy.
Oh yeah, I agree.
What it is.
But that's what's going to happen with. I mean, have you seen it? If you shop for a new refrigerator lately, they have like little TVs on them and stuff. It won't be long before you can like just be at the grocery store and be like, oh, I think I'm low on milk. Take your phone out and look in your refrigerator and see if you're low on milk or not.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Lovely kid talking about Facebook knows everything. What I think is brilliant with technology right now is that we have all, if you went back in time and looked at the government compiling information on people, you would have old school files that would open up with old school folders and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the government's brilliant. They're just like, screw that, guys. Here you go. Give one of these to everyone. They get everything for free. And not only that, they get it in HD detail.
From my understanding, there was recently there was 20 Google employees who just walked out from an AI meeting, and they basically quit because of military technology that they're wanting to use AI for the United States. But I mean, the United States basically they just go around our government and they fund like Google, they fund Facebook. If you go back and look who really owns Facebook, you go back to DARPA and the rest of those people. I mean, we're talking about a technology that you can use on your phone, right? A free platform, Facebook, that's banned in a lot of countries because they know who owns it. You know what I mean? But I mean, here's a free platform that has facial recognition software. How much did that cost to make?
Yeah. You know, they actually.
And why would you use
about the internet and technology? Supposedly there's 500 to 700 times the dark web under the web that we use right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're on YouTube, or Google.
Yeah.
I was reading Frozen Fury's comments.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the old technology, man. I really do. It is more. It's
it
it's
is.
more. We'll call it basic, but it is more durable.
But you know what? What's funny? The more our technology keeps advancing, the human race keeps like not getting it.
Devolving.
Yeah, we don't get any better. We get worse.
I mean, it's only a matter of time. I'd say the next 20, 30 years that we will be enhanced with computer parts.
Well, it's already here. I mean, if people will accept it, I mean the chips.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's actually all the technology is taking away though, because I mean, I'd say it again. I was at the dentist office the other day. We're in the waiting room, the small waiting room. No one's talking to each other. Every single person is sitting there like this in their own world, on their phone. They're not even aware anyone's around them. Just give me that phone. You know, I'm in my own world. You know. Facebook is mostly funded by advertisers. The more info they have on you, better ads they can serve. Whoa, my Post-it note just fell. What's my Post-it note? See, this is old school. I got a Post-it note here. Oh, I was supposed to go to Brenda G's live. I made it though. I can crumple this one. You guys ever do old school Post-it notes once in a while?
Love those.
I got a little stack of them here. Once in a great while. Just for fun. Once in a great while. Look at, I got yours right here, Rebel, that I'm supposed to do bent grass, bluegrass, fesca grass, and fesca creeping red.
There you go.
Buy my grass seed.
Yeah.
I put it on my Post-it note.
Drone Wolf Media said the government repealed basically the things they were supposed to. It's the Smut and Mutant Act. Basically, that makes it legal to use propaganda on us.
Oh, jeepers, I believe that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like technology. I mean, I do like it to a degree. I mean, to a degree. I mean, there's things I like.
I like the information age. That part I like because there's no questions you can ask now that can't be answered via Google. See, Google, they have one job, really. I mean, of course they have more, but they have one job as a Google platform. They have to provide you the best answer. If they quit doing that, they quit being relevant. That's what they're based on. They have to provide you the best answer for the question that you give. They're just basically an answer machine. That's all they are. They answer. You ask a question, they propose the best answer. If they quit doing that, they quit being relevant. They quit being number one in the world. Yandex is like, on the east side of the planet, the Middle East and stuff. Yandex is pretty big for like Russia and stuff like that. But Google's number one pretty much in any English speaking country.
What is lovely kid Japan talking about there about watch what you say with information on YouTube? They can close your live streams for that. What are you talking about exactly, lovely kid Japan? Talking about information against the big guys like Google or Facebook, that kind of stuff. That's why we don't have TV. Wow.
I mean, it's been proven. I mean, I'm not scared to say certain things. I mean, we've had. I don't even know how to look at him. I'm going to use this one particular guy, Snowden. I don't even know how to look at him. Is he a patriot? Is he a traitor? I
don't know who that is.
Edward Snowden?
No.
Okay.
Is he related to Warren Buffett?
No. He's just a guy who basically leaked a lot of how, not exactly how government collects data on people, but the fact that they do. You know what I mean? But most of the time, I mean, even the United States government, we pay some other government basically to spy on U.S. citizens, and we spy on their citizens in return, and they exchange information because they're not allowed to do it. You know what I mean? And usually those countries aren't allowed to do it. Like we'll have the British Empire come and spy on us, and we spy on their citizens, and we just trade information. I think the Patriot guy. I think that thing. I mean, that thing popped up so fast. They had that thing in the waiting. You know what I mean? Same thing with the new gun control law that came out in February.
So I kind of look at technology. You're talking about technology because I watched a special the other day on flying cars. Actually, that was pretty amazing. Actually,
yeah, we've had flying cars since the '60s.
No, I know, but more practical. Like I could see them more in the grasp of everyday people.
Yeah, but it's going to mean when you got to do two things basically. You got to have a self-flying car,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, drivers are bad enough on the planet
Dude,
now.
don't you remember Back to the Future 2 when they bop back into the future? You remember that scene? And Doc's like, and they're like freaking taxi cab drivers. You know, they're flying in the sky. I mean,
Yeah.
But those flying cars, computerized, were amazing. The one was a helicopter style, so it didn't need a runway. 4 electric rotors. Yeah, it's amazing. Could fly you right into the city. You can live in the country.
Mm-hmm. D-Lo Flow said they can. I get tired of seeing Facebook ads on YouTube. I already have a Facebook account. And they can take my data and shove it. I think that's funny.
Hey,
D-Lo Flow.
Sofrito.
Yep, lipstick and Sofrito.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Have you seen the drone deliveries of pizzas on YouTube?
Yes.
Me and my wife were talking about that the other day.
Same thing with. I mean, a lot of jobs are going to go to basically AI technology with computers. That combination. I mean, you talking about flying cars. Let's go back to driving, self-driving, automated cars. Once, let's say 2 companies, right? Which Google's already kind of dominating that market. They're going to take these away from these people. But Uber, right? You got Uber and Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Here's a hybrid car. You know, it's really just electric car. So if you take Uber and Tesla and make it a self-driving car, wrap it under the Google name, you just dominated. If you do the same thing with air technology, maybe you're Tesla again with the SpaceX or whatever. You know what I mean?
They took a hit though, Uber, with that automated car killing someone the other day.
Well, yeah, she jumped out in front of it. I mean, the video's been proven. I mean, that technology's still got to be worked on. You can't even. I mean, trains derail. You know what I mean?
It's still bad PR. You know, they don't want that.
Yeah.
Didn't help their cause.
No.
Yeah. Self-automated cars have one issue, Wacky. If it crashes, who's at fault? That's a very good point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that will come up in the future.
Well, it's kind of like basically everything's here. They just don't have it put together for the average person. Flying cars are here, but they're for the super rich, and they're not regulated to where they can start flying around everywhere. Delivering everything by drone is already here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can lift the payloads, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need the mail service. I mean, you could have drones flying around all day, just dropping our mail to us. No more postal workers. You could have, I mean, everything can be done by drone now.
Exactly.
It was right away. South Korea couldn't finish my live stream because of missiles. Flying protect airplanes. Wow.
Yes, I do remember that. Lovely Kid Japan. Yes.
Frozen Fury. I love that. Yeah, I know. I consider myself a master driver. I'm like an expert. I'm professional, you know.
I mean, if you get a flying car, you need to have it. At the minimum, you got to pass an FCC. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the regulations of plane, but you got to be able to pass an FCC.
I don't know if I don't know if flying cars would ever be viable to actually drive yourself. If I think they'd almost would have to be automated.
I think because of the lanes of traffic and the they got altitudes. I mean, there's going to be a point where there could just be too many accidents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean
too many.
I mean,
and then what happens when somebody hacks it?
Yeah, and
what could they do with that?
Oh technology? My goodness, good point. Like people start going around with the
good or bad.
Oh wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing with automated cars.
And then what about when cars start falling into people's living rooms? You know, because they like I don't know where it's headed. I actually wonder about that. Like, where is that headed? Because I can't see that on a global scale without I can't even see how that would work.
I mean, if you really want to get technical, we have flying vehicles now that are automated. They're called drones. You know what I mean? Who's to say we don't put a payload of people on it and use it for a bus service, shuttle?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was reading what Frozen Fury was saying, the pilot license idea. Yeah, it's just that all of a sudden you have so many of them up in the sky. I don't know how that would work. I mean, imagine like let's just throw a number out. 900 people need to get to work on Monday morning in Chicago in a flying car. Could you imagine that? Now, what if it was 10,000, 20,000, 30? It'd be mind-boggling.
I think trains is still a viable option in this world. You know what I mean?
Who knows? Maybe they'll end up just regulating it with like air buses or something where they won't let the public fly their own cars. It'll just be like a community kind of thing, you know?
I mean, you're familiar with golf carts and how they work, right?
Golf carts?
Golf carts.
Sure, of course.
Why does it
gas?
Yeah. So why does it? Yeah. Why didn't electric golf carts? Every single one of them already have a solar panel on the roof to charge. Some of them do. I mean, it's an aftermarket thing you can add on to them, but every single one should. I mean, you can just park it outside, let it charge, do its own thing, save yourself some money, save, everyone money. I mean, I'm paying about 14 cents a kilowatt here where I live, for electricity. I'm just looking at that. I mean, but not just if you're using that as an example, why not have it on cars? Why not have it on buses? Why not have it on planes? Why not have it on every piece of transportation, including airplanes? Well, on the top and the bottom, they could put solar panels.
There's not as much money in it. I mean, you could argue they have to buy the solar panels, but I mean,
it's getting cheaper every day. That technology is getting cheaper every day. It's affordable, truly affordable.
Right. But what I mean is if you start replacing, I mean, big oil wants their money for running combustion engines, I mean, they want things that you need to keep buying, they don't want you to buy solar panels that keep working for years, for free,
The technology is growing. Like I said, we are in a technology revolution. A 15-year-old piece of technology, whether it's a phone or whatever, it's going to be outdated because newer things are happening. We're not just using silicone-based PV systems anymore. That's photovoltaic solar panels. We have other chemical. Remember the old? Like when you use a science class, you had to learn the whole elements, all of them. In that silicone base, there's certain ones that are in that same kind of family that kind of go around the middle section that can play off of. You can combine other elements instead of just using silicone. Because when you do silicone PV or solar panels, you have to have almost 99.9% pure silicone to make that happen. Now you can combine other elements to make those just as efficient.
Yeah, but some of the problems is with the government, with all their hands and everything. I mean, look at the people that are, the big outrage right now. The people that are living off the grid that have solar and they have their own wells and all that stuff, and they're being charged from the electric company and the water company.
You have to be connected. Yep.
Yeah, you must be connected. It's a law that you have to.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So where's all this going? It's really getting out of hand. Look at that D-Lo flow. I think it's crazy. They don't want drones over military bases, but yet they can spy on us. Yeah. Yeah, the rainwater thing to me is amazing that you can't.
You don't own it. You don't own it. You can't.
The water that falls from the sky on the planet and you can't collect it?
Right.
What?
Yeah, because the state or the country owns the rights, the air rights usually to it.
Did you see this thing Frozen Fury was saying there? Government control money. Someone got arrested for having their own wind turbine.
Yep. Seen that. A guy went to jail. He had it outside his house.
Did you guys watch Anonymous? Oh, that guy with the weird mustache and the mask.
Guy Fawkes mask, yeah. Yeah, I keep an eye on Anonymous. I love that group. I do.
Hello, we're bringing a new message to you.
Hey, look, I mean, there's got to be somebody who does it. Anonymous just happens to be, I mean, they were infiltrated by the FBI at one time. The FBI was doing major stuff with them. You know what I mean? Like, they funded them almost. And then they was able to take down a lot of people, unfortunately. But most of those guys are doing something positive. They're not like some of the other hacker groups and organizations that have formed over the years who just do stuff for loyals. You know what I mean? And just try to cause havoc and disruption.
I just keep wondering where technology's headed. What's next on the list?
I'm telling you, 20, 30 years, we're going to be half bionic.
But where do you think we're headed in the next 5 years? What do you think?
5 years? 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. What do you think is going to be out there for us that's revolutionary or new, or that? I mean, what do you think?
Communication. This device, whether it's your phone or your computer, the problem with communication between a device, whether we're communicating with a phone or we're communicating with our computer or whatever, or if we're talking, the problem is the transfer of data. Computers are way more faster than we are. It's single task, they can flat out beat us. The problem is the only way we have two ways to communicate. We can type it with this or with our thumbs, which is even worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speak it, right.
Or speak it. That process is limited by us. We are the weak.
It's kind of slow too, and it's kind of slow, even talking, because like you said, we're limited to our own voice speed,
Well, that's the problem. Like I said, we are the problem. We are the weak link. This transfer of data with all phones, with texting, with thumbs, even the fastest person is not that great. You know what I mean? Compared to a computer and how fast they can transfer information. There'll be some kind of device that we probably have, I don't know, like a contact that we wear, or something that like a baseball hat that has, sensors in it, or something that can read some way, somehow. Maybe it's an earpiece. There's going to be a way to transfer data faster. That's going to be something that's going to be happening soon, in 5 years or less. It'll have to.
Lovely Kid Japan is talking about food might be revolutionary in the next 5 years.
I'm hoping.
What way, though?
I'm hoping that's where we take technology back to where it needs to be, away from where it's going.
No, I want better potato chips. Seriously, I want genetically engineered as long as they're salty and good.
What? Really? No, not me.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Idaho potatoes, man. I'm good. Some sweet potatoes. Just give me the old school potatoes. Give me the same ones that the Irish, experienced during the famine. Give me those cruddy ones. I'll take those, man. Don't give me no engineered crap.
See, the thing I hate is that everything I like you said about I wish it was more reliable. I mean, look at how many times you just have a simple live stream and it crashes. Look at how you drive out in the countryside and you're disconnected on a phone call, drop call.
Mm-hmm. Food. I think food will become to a point where maybe we're just eating something out of a bag, like a slurry. You know what I mean? That'll have vitamins in it, and it'll have whatever else essentials that we need. And I don't think there's going to be any flavors or taste. I mean, genetically modified foods today are not as good as foods from the past. You know what I mean? They just don't taste the same. I mean, they may be able to enhance by playing God, playing Mother Nature, or whatever. They can change the DNA of a certain tomato, corn, whatever. I mean, you can't. It's hard to find corn that hasn't been. It's not a GMO. Try. I mean, even I don't care if you go down to Mexico where they have maize. Same thing, same corn. It's almost impossible not to find something that's not genetically modified.
Oh no, Bros of Russell, Soylent Green.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Soylent Green. It's people. It's people. That famous scene with Charlton Heston. They were supposedly going to remake that movie.
Helga said, GMOs have been out 20 years. Yeah, they've been out 20 years plus, man. And some of the GMOs, I understand where they were trying to go with it, but most of it, man, just.
What does it stand for again?
Genetically modified organisms.
Modified.
Yeah,
organisms.
They've actually did GMOs with pigs and other animals, but think about a genetically modified pig.
So it applies to plants or animals or people or
genetically modified.
If it's genetically modified, it's
any organism. Yeah,
it's
crazy, man. That's ridiculous.
I had no opinion of them until then. After that, Yeah, well, I mean, we don't really know what we're eating. We just eat it because it tastes good. We like it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Our food is so bad today. Look at
Oh,
the foods that we put sugars in that don't need sugar. You know what I mean?
man, what I had for dinner tonight was probably horrible. It sure tasted good, though.
Yeah.
My wife made a nice white gravy with meatballs, and I put it over bread and
Right.
some peas with it. And I have no idea what was in that stuff.
You know, they're actually culturing and growing meat now, genetically modified.
How can you grow meat? That's
They're
I've never heard of that.
growing meat.
How can you grow meat?
Just like you do basically, it's more like bacteria slash like a plant.
Are
They're
you
actually,
talking more like a vegetarian patty would be, where it's more like a soy based kind of thing?
Google it, check it out.
Wow, that's like so wrong.
That is, and you know what? People are going to be eating it. You know what I mean? Before you know what happened, it's coming. They're going to actually grow meat, just probably to keep up with the food source, because you know the planet's constantly growing in people.
Gene splicing. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeepers, this is gonna be like the island of Dr. Moreau. Oh man. Remember that movie?
832629-816 said, but the FDA shut it down. FDA, that's a horrible organization. The Food and Drug Administration, they are horrible. They, man, those people get kickbacks like you don't even know, and then they go work for these other companies. It's just a bribe organization, man. They have no respect or care about us. I swear. And I will say that to them if they were here. I would love to debate one of those guys.
Do you think the next 5 years is going to be a technology explosion in communications?
I think it has been since 95, man. Truly since about, I mean, a little bit before that, but about
Yeah.
95 is when, you know,
Or
AOL
even
came
going
about. The World Wide Web was really popular, you know?
and dipping back into the 80s, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, but I don't think 95, a lot of people had computers in their home. In the 80s, there was very few. You know what I mean? We were
Well,
still, in the 80s, we were still using typewriters.
well, the thing is, in the 80s, they were viewed more as a gaming system. It
Right.
was to play games on. You know, you got your little Macintosh, your little Apple computer to stick
Right.
your discs in.
I mean, look at mid 80s, early 80s to mid 80s, you had your Ataris, you know what I mean? And now what can you do with that? That same system, you know?
I haven't heard about the meat growing. That's wow.
Ugh, it's horrible, man. What are they thinking?
Well, you know, they've also talked about growing body parts for people.
Yeah, they've been doing that too. They're actually thinking about they're working on technology. You know how sharks reproduce teeth? They're trying to do that for people to actually the calcium and actually regrow teeth for people as they get older and people lose their teeth. They're looking at ways to regrow teeth through that technology of sharks and through like remember the old little lizards you would catch and if you grab their tail will come off and regrow. They've been looking at that to regrow body parts, not just teeth, but arms and legs when people lose those.
Isn't that like worms that do that too?
Maybe. I don't know. I try not to hurt a worm.
Either that or maybe you just cut them in half and they keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Iron Horse. Iron Fire Horse. Talking about being in Scotland in the 70s and computers were huge. They were, yeah.
Let's see here. I remember being in my mom's office, Scotland, early 70s. Yeah, well, you always see it on the old shows where they got those big, wheels spinning.
836. Look at 8326298816.
I read it.
Grew an ear on a servicewoman. That's cool, man.
That's crazy.
Wow. Have you ever wondered what would happen if we ran out of food? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Dial flow. Yeah, definitely, man. I think most people don't understand where their food comes from these days. And I think more people need to become self-sufficient and self-aware about how to purify water, how to clean water, and how to grow food. And start doing it locally so that you know that it's not chemically enhanced or whatever. I mean, Canada doesn't have the regulations that even California has. In Canada, you have these farmer markets. Farmer markets are basically, farmers show up with their products and their goods, and they try to sell these vegetables or fruits or whatever, nuts. Let's just keep it simple. And in Canada, a lot of times, these people who are resellers are buying it from central hub. There's a couple central hubs that deliver food throughout the country. There's a couple. They'll go there and buy these same boxed fruits or vegetables, and then take them to the farmers market and sell them for 2 to 3 times more. And they're making a profit. They're not actually growing them, and they're lying to people saying that they are. They're not GMO. They're not sprayed with chemicals, and sometimes they are, but they're not regulated like we are. Like say California. I'm in South Carolina, but I'm just using California as an example. And they have inspectors who actually come by and check. And then if it's not in season in that area, you can pretty much bet it came from somewhere else. That's one way to know that you're buying something that's probably something that they didn't grow. You know what I mean? If it's not in season where you live, or if it has a sticker on it,
I was just reading Lovely Kid. They were talking about running out of food. I mean, yeah, that's probably a stretch. I mean, the only way I could see running out of food would be, if there was nuclear war or something crazy,
Yes.
Something like that, then I could see something happening.
Yes.
But if something like that doesn't happen,
I mean, it could be something. It doesn't have to be that. I mean, we could use a natural disaster. Look what's happening in Hawaii. You know what I mean? There's a volcano that just put more CO2 in the atmosphere than humans did in the last 40 years.
Whatever gave you the idea that I thought Canada was perfect? No, I'm just kidding. I was reading the chat there. They're like, it says Canada is not as wonderful as you think. Lots of totally unethical behavior, but that happens everywhere.
Yeah, that happens everywhere.
But I enjoyed Toronto. Toronto was great. I like the trolley cars there.
He's like, yeah. He said lots of people in Canada don't get to eat on a daily basis. That America too,
America, yeah. You know what's funny? I saw a special once where they, the guy, what's his name, Larry something or another, who delivers food all. Oh shoot, he's like a feed my children kind of guy.
Okay.
And we're always sending it overseas, and all that to feed the. He went up into like like the Appalachian Mountains, those kind of hillbilly kind of. You would use that term maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And he found like families that had no food right here in America
all day long.
He found some, they were eating like ketchup sandwiches and things like that, just anything they get their hands on. So,
yeah, I've seen a couple of documentaries on that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, he was just talking about Canada. Made me think of that here in America.
That's why I think people are going to have to start getting more self-reliant. I don't care if you live in an apartment. If you've got a little patio, you can grow tomatoes. You know what I mean? If you're in the right place in season, if you can't, grow them indoors. You know what I mean? If you can grow marijuana indoors, you can grow tomatoes indoors. You know what I mean?
Problem with some of that stuff, it all takes time, and we're all so busy all the time.
I don't disagree, but now that we're talking about technology, there's like CNC little machines that will actually de-weed your garden. It's a little device. It's about this big. It's small. It's about the size of your mouse on your computer, and it will run around in your garden and de-weed it. They have actual programmable devices which have different interchangeable heads that look like a drill, and it will reach down and grab a choice of like 10 different heads. A spray head that will spray and water the garden for you. It does it all on a timer. You can set it up and do it all. It checks the moisture of the ground. You can do a small plot, and it has these rails on each side, and it will run over the garden and check on each one. It will actually plant the seeds for you, know what you're planting, how much to water, everything. It will do it all. And those are actually cheap. And that's just scratching the surface, getting started. If people don't have time, they can actually automate it now to grow their own food. How about that?
I was just reading Iron Fire Horse's thing here. Looks like they were trying to grow some stuff.
Yeah. Iron Fire Horse, try something else. If you're getting slugs, maybe you're probably trying to do strawberries. But I would try to do something else. There's a lot of other foods that you can try to grow whatever your conditions are. I think there's going to be a point where you're going to want to know what you're eating. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because I mean, think about America can't export most of its food because it's considered a poison or a toxin to the rest of the world. Those other countries won't allow America to export our food. That's how bad our food is already. And they don't talk about it. You know what I mean? The pesticides that we use, those transfer over. The hormones that are used in plumping up chickens, cows, etc. It's making the next generation of younger kids, develop faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those things transfer into we are what we eat, period.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about this whole technology thing.
I was reading a comment earlier.
Do you know in some ways it actually is a real burden though?
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason is because it's so expensive to get all this technology. A lot of people, man, they're working their butts off to pay for, cell phones and flat screen TVs and computers and Volvos. And, think about how much money is being spent on the technology.
Yep.
I'm still mind boggled. I mean, would you ever, when you look at just look at cars, the technology of cars back in the 70s, they were like $2,500,
Oh yeah. Inflation.
Yeah, I know, but money was not a $2,500 car back in the 70s was not the equivalent of a $30,000 car right now. It wasn't that bad. But just puts a lot of stress on people, the technology. That's all.
How long do you think before we go back to steam powered cars?
Wow. Could happen.
Why shouldn't it? And
trains. There's no money in it.
Exactly.
They don't develop the things that don't make money.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
That's why. Do you know there was Jeepers? Have you ever watched that? There is some truth to it. Now, granted, some of it could be propaganda, but you ever seen that movie, like What Killed the Electric Car?
Mm-hmm. I did see that.
And they were supposedly smashing the cars that were actually perfectly good.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, I don't know.
Yeah.
No money in an electric car, really. Well, I mean, there is the initial buying, maybe but
I mean, still today, you got to look at those old 3-cylinder GMs that were made. They're called like Geo Metros. Remember those? They get almost 50 gallons to them.
They were three-cylinder cars.
3-cylinder cars, yeah, made by GM, called a Geo Metro or a Geo Tracker. Yeah, look at the value of those today. When gas prices go up, those cars still hold their value.
There was some.
They still get great gas mileage.
When last couple years ago, when gas was like $4.79, almost $5 a gallon where I lived, people would put these crappy piece of crap Geo Metros on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd have them for like $4,000. These crazy prices. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, you still have a rusted out piece of crap Geo Metro. I mean, I could see it might be worth a little more right now, but 4,000 really,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't know where technology is going. I really don't.
I think it's going to be interesting. I looked at Google's new AI stuff. That's amazing. And we're going to be tricked by that too in a lot of different ways. I mean, their presentations.
What do you consider AI for Google? I mean, do you consider what do you consider artificial intelligence? Do you think of it like a moving robot kind of thing, or just a
combination of all that? Yeah, I mean, what Google has, they actually have. They just did a presentation recently. I'll give you one example, and you can find it here on YouTube. You know how Siri works on your phone?
Are you talking about when you talk to it, you mean?
Yes.
Do I know how it works?
Yeah, like you just ask Siri a question and it kind of answers.
Well, not exactly. I mean, it interprets supposedly your sound waves of your voice and
Right, right. Now, I'm not trying to get
predetermined.
the technical part. I'm like, but you know how Siri works, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So they made a presentation where they told Siri basically to schedule, I think it was a dentist appointment, whatever. So in real time, the computer, like they're driving. Well, they're not really driving, but they said, an example, you could be driving and this happens. It calls this company. Maybe it's a dentist appointment, maybe it's a hair appointment, maybe it's anything. And in a real human-like voice, it calls, talks to the person, understands what they're saying, schedules an appointment for you, and lets you know. You didn't have to do it. It did it itself.
Well,
I mean, that's just one part of it. You know what I mean? Like
Skynet's coming.
Skynet, exactly. John Connor's mom, look out. We'll protect you. You know
I
what
don't
I
know.
mean?
They have that thing about where they might come alive. They call it the ghost in the machine.
It's already happened. Facebook had to shut it down. Look what happened to poor Tay. I don't know if you know who Tay is. All right, so Twitter, poor Microsoft, man. They opened up this Tay, Tay, I believe is what her name was. It was a teenage female robot, basically, and they put it on Twitter. In 24 hours, 24 hours time, her learning software went from humans are wonderful to some of the most spouted crap you'd ever want to see on the internet. You know what I mean?
No, I never saw that.
Oh yeah, her name is Tay, Tay, and I'm actually still subscribed to her. But it's a Twitter, handle, channel, whatever. But it's shut down. They had to shut it down because it was self-learning what people were sending it and teaching it, and it was starting to spew some horrible things. You know what I mean? It was already Nazi, Hitler, etc. Because people were sending it and it was learning to respond. Terrible stuff.
Wow.
But it's self-taught learning. It's not like a bird that just repeats what you say. I mean, it actually learns, understands, and then try to give you a response to whatever you're saying. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how that works exactly. I don't. The whole.
It's just a chatbot. That's all it is.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is like the whole Terminator thing. The expression would be self-aware. I don't know if a machine is ever really self-aware. I don't know.
I don't know. Facebook.
I mean, they might be able to, like you said, have electronically things come in and make these to be self-aware that they actually realize they're a being. That's, I don't know.
I don't know, man, because I've seen conversations where somebody's taken an Alexa and another Alexa and let them talk to each other. Facebook did the same thing, and they didn't know what was happening because it started talking so fast, and they didn't understand the language. They just thought it was like a hiccup or whatever. It had invented its own language and was able to transfer that information quicker back and forth, talking to itself. Computer talking to computer. Invented its own language like that fast. That's scary. You know what I mean?
No, I was looking at D-Lo Flow.
Mm-hmm.
He's been hearing weird noises while we've been on this stream.
Wow.
I don't know. There's no noises going on here to my knowledge. I don't think there's any aliens here.
Mm-hmm.
Self-aware.
I think there we go again. When are people going to take, like, if you give your information, right, to Siri, to some of these phones, your banking information, etc., how long will it be before hackers are actually hacking into your Alexa and hacking into your Internet of Things and being able to cause all kind of mass havoc? You know what I mean? Or even the government. You know what I mean? Seriously. If you're freely giving those passwords, there's a guy who lives in Charleston, South Carolina. Doesn't live far from me. He lives 2.5 hours away from me. He worked on several projects you guys may be aware of, but he worked on a true identity system. This was invented in 2013, I believe. The guy lives in Charleston, South Carolina. His name is Frank. He is an FBI agent. He used to be one of the world's largest criminals. If you ever saw the movie Catch Me If You Can,
Yep,
that's him. He served his sentence. I think he pulled 7 years for the stunts that he pulled as a teenage kid when he ran away from home, and then he basically was asked to join the FBI. The only guy who's ever had that position to be able to do that, because most people have, doctors and masters basically in criminal psychology or some other high degree. Graduate from MIT or something. If they're going to join the FBI, you got to have this certain qualification. He's pretty much the only person who's ever gone the other route. You know what I mean? And they turned his life around, and he's gave 35 plus years of his life to the FBI. But he has a true identity system where you don't need passwords. You don't need these things. He invented, basically some of the best security systems there are. And he says, man, it's 4,000 times easier today to do what he did back then. Because, there's full color copiers, there's machines, when he had what was that large machine he had overseas? I think they started with a Humbleberg or something, whatever, that big printing press where he was making money. He'd made 2 stilt rigs, because it's a 3-man operation. How big this freaking computer was, or not computer, but printing press, and he made 2 areas that basically he could run over to. They made a platform he could run and do it all by himself.
I was just reading some Iron Fire Horse's comments in the chat there. Kind of bizarre. Google listens to everything. Iron.
Do you believe that the royal wedding is an alien party? That's funny.
Oh my goodness. I'm about as interested in the royal wedding as I am in screwdrivers. I mean, I know it's a big deal to people, but I'm
kind of interested in it. I mean, you get to see how the better half live, and you got to think about this prince, man. Right? So you got this prince who's, he was a bad boy back in the day, and most of his careers have kind of, some of the things he's done and stuff has all come out in the public light. He hasn't been that same prince that most people are used to seeing. He's the new age one,
Mm.
And so look at some of the women he's dated over time. When the people find out about his relationship, usually he's broke up with them and it's done. Doesn't talk to him anymore.
But look at technology. We all know about it all immediately.
Yeah.
Did that wedding happen already, or is it going to happen?
Good question. I think it happened today. I think it happened yesterday, actually. At the same time, the Preakness was happening, and at the same time, something else was happening. Something big, large was happening.
The mind of an AI would be similar to a guard dog. Elon Musk, he thinks SO is dangerous.
He's talking about, he thinks it's so dangerous. He's talking about, yes, Elon Musk has put his concerns out there about AI, and some other smarter people than us.
What is SO?
I don't think he meant to type. I think he just meant so dangerous. I think he's talking about AI is so dangerous is what he meant to put. Yeah, Elon Musk, the guy who invented Tesla and some other companies, Tesla X, et cetera, et cetera. Man, he's warned against it. I'm leery of it. I think it needs computer control. I mean, like human computer interaction control. You just can't give it the passwords.
I don't think I'd want AI running the missile silos.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
If it's cut off somewhere,
Yeah, if you connect this thing to the internet, it's done. That's scary.
Poor Diane.
You give it the resources to build itself. And I'm not just talking about being able to hack into somebody's account and withdraw money or whatever and start building whatever.
There's a Star Trek actually like that. And you might laugh at it. It's one of the old episodes of Star Trek. Because you know me, I'm a Star Trek nut.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 minds are trapped in these orbs.
I remember that episode.
And they need the bodies of the crew because they need to build robot bodies for themselves. So the machines kind of need if they could get a hold of some robotic hands or human hands and control them, they might just be able to build themselves some mobility, you know?
I don't think A326-29816 said AI could never use the internet as a body. I'm not saying use it as a body. I'm just saying to be able to use it as its control to do the things it wanted to do.
Well, or to get further to something.
Right. I mean, if it can connect to one computer, to connect to another computer, to maybe run a, it could, I mean, if you had total control of all of the internet, the things that you could do, I mean, if you can mass produce cars with robots, right? You can mass produce whatever with robots. I'm just saying that's just one thing. You know what I mean? If you can mass produce computers, if you can program, you can put all these things in play. You can make it all happen. You can do everything from the computer these days, you know? Think of it if you had no boundaries, no laws or whatever. You know what I mean? If you're just a computer and you had no boundaries, what could you do? Everything.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. I'm going to go live on an island somewhere. No internet.
You know, Elon Musk has said that we're going to be doing space travel shortly. You know, he's got a date predicted, and I'm looking at how long before we start selling real estate on these other planets.
Oh my goodness!
You know what I mean?
There's a Twilight Zone like that where they sell cemetery plots on an asteroid.
Right.
And
I mean, the NATO and all these other ones have already basically said, you know, nobody can own this, nobody can own that, blah blah. But who gives a damn? Like if you're first there. That's what happened on this country. In other countries, they were conquered and divided and reconquered and split up and etc. But what do Earthlings have to say about people or Mars? Let's just use Mars as a planet or the moon. Just because we stuck an American flag there first doesn't mean we own it. You know, they've already given away those rights here on Earth under NATO.
Remember, it's a maybe. Some people claim we've never gone into space.
Okay. All right. Well,
they do.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So
they say the rockets go up and then veer off, and we never see them. And
how long before we build a Death Star? Maybe it's in our orbit. We've been following our solar system for hundreds, thousands of years. They know what's going to come and happen. I mean, we look at the moon, we see all the asteroids that hit it, but how long before we build our own Death Star that we live on? Or a portion of people live on. If we find nitrogen or oxygen or hydrogen on other planets, say Mars, it won't be long before we can use those things to our advantage to actually sustain life. And the way there's people who sell real estate now on the moon. Granted, it's not worth anything. You know what I mean? Like you're paying somebody $20 or whatever. So it's like $20 an acre, right, for real estate on the moon. Now that if it was legal binding, that would be great because future generations, you may be able to pass that on. I mean, what's an acre on the moon going to be worth? Say 100, 200 years from now. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows what that would be worth? Maybe it's a sanctuary. Who knows at that time? But it's not worth anything right now because nobody really has it. But if Elon Musk can actually do that, set up a city, start growing food there, start making these interplanetary travels happen with his SpaceX program, where they can reuse a lot of his SpaceX technology, reuse rockets, saving money, just like airline travel. It's going to be interesting what's going to happen in the next 100 years, People may take vacations like what you saw on, what was that movie with Bruce Willis? Fifth Element, where you'd go on these galactic space travels. You just won't be going to Hawaii. Maybe you're going to Pluto, Maybe you're going somewhere else.
Well, that's kind of like in 2001, A Space Odyssey. They're out in space.
Yeah, exactly.
Flying on a sort of like similar to a space shuttle airplane.
Look at the International Space Station, what we're doing with that thing. You know what I mean? How long before we colonize other places? Before we disease them. Let's put it that way. these untapped resources, these unexplored, uncharted territories. that we're going to leaving trash on. You know what? Mars has a population on it now. It's all robots. You know what I mean? It's got living things. It's got AI.
No. What if they reproduce on Mars and they come back and take us over?
People are always saying, so and so's from, these are people from, Martians, Mars, blah, blah, blah. Well, all the Martians are freaking robots. We put them there. How come we don't have a bunch of those on the moon right now? Just going all over the moon. It's crazy.
We have Mars buildings. D-Lo-Flow's seen some aliens and UFOs. I'd have to admit, I did see a UFO once myself, actually. Me and my brother actually did see one. But yeah, it was at my mom's house and it was right above us and it was no noise. Like they always say, lights. And it went over our house and then it turned and followed down our street and then turned. And we were freaked out.
D-Lo Flow said it was North Carolina. Wow. Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff too, man. I'm not gonna say I haven't seen some off the wall possible flying saucers. Definitely under the term UFO, unidentified flying object. Definitely seen those. That made some sharp angle turns that shouldn't have happened. Like you're like, what did I just watch? What did I just see?
Yeah.
Crazy, man. There was a house in North Carolina. Speaking about this, since we're talking about technology. A nuclear bomb was dropped on a house in North Carolina by accident. By accident.
What do you mean by accident?
The bay doors on a World War II bomber.
Oh.
One was already unhitched, and as it was flying over, the other one, because of the weight, when it fell, it went through the doors and fell on a house in North Carolina, or right beside a house.
But didn't go off.
Didn't go off. Luckily, it wasn't armed. Holy crap. And that was by the United States government. The United States government basically bombed its own country accidentally. Luckily, they wasn't armed.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? I'm sure they got paid.
D-Lo Flow. The weird thing is I tried to record it and my phone would not record.
Wow.
Well, it's probably because you had an iPhone, D-Lo Flow, but that's okay. Just get a Samsung, No, just kidding. He's going to come back with, I have a Samsung.
Wow.
I'm just funning with you. Just funning with you on the technology.
That's a viral video, man. If you can film some stuff like that up close.
UFO?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a viral video waiting to happen.
So many of them out there,
There is a lot. I think it would be foolish to think that we're the only people in all the universes. Not just ours, the whole solar system. Or the life force, life. Let's just call ourselves living of the living. I think it would be stupid to think that we're the only ones. There's just too many galaxies out there. Too many universes.
Oh no, aliens! Oh no.
I'm not just thinking aliens. I mean, they could be. Heck, we could be aliens. Honestly, you know what I mean.
We're the virus.
I mean, think about if you're an animal, right? Like you're a cow or whatever. You gotta look at us like aliens. Like, man, they pick us up, they probe us, they do all this weird stuff to us. You know what I mean? We got to be looked at like other animals looking at us like, oh God, please save us. They're scary.
On a side note, I don't know how long you're doing this stream for. I gotta leave at 7, like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta leave less than that.
Oh, okay. Because I gotta take a nap because I've been up.
Gotta go to work.
On a Sunday? Come on, Rebel.
It happens. Church and work, buddy. Church and work. Got to make it happen.
Oh, man, I wanted you to take the day off, my man.
I would love to take another day off. I took part of the day off yesterday, and
you worked too hard. Take it off today, man.
I can't do it.
Tell everyone in the chat.
I did it yesterday.
Rebel, take today off.
Look at the sun shining out there, man. It's beautiful.
Well, it is, and enjoy it in a different way. Come on.
Hold on, I gotta show you this. So
Rebel, I kid you not, I worked 7 days a week. Well, I do even right now on YouTube, but it's different work, but 7 days a week for years on end. I mean, I never even barely took a day off.
So we had a week of rain, right? And we're going to have basically, let's see if I can get this up there. Find the right one. So you can see it.
By the way, people, remember to thank God for the dust. You were talking about rain.
That's right.
I heard a Billy Graham crusade once. I didn't realize this. Dust it needs the rainwater that comes down, dust collects to it, and that's what keeps us alive.
Yep. I remember that.
Kind of old school technology. Like, thank for the dust.
It's true. I remember that. I remember that exact same speech.
Yeah. Oh, you did? You heard that once, yeah?
Yep.
I never thought of that.
Yep. You ever heard of silver nitrate?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
So they take silver nitrate.
It's like gold nitrate, but it's silver.
Yeah. So they take silver nitrate and they used to, it's just a chemical compound, basically. It's AgNO with number 3 down at the bottom. And they used to shoot that into the clouds to make it rain. Sure enough. That was one of the things that they used to shoot in the clouds. You know? It's crazy. Was you ever big into chemistry?
Me?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah, I love the periodic table, and I did like chemistry. I don't know why. But it's called cloud seeding. I don't know if you've ever looked it up.
No, I know what they do. I know they put those chemicals up in the clouds and with the planes, and then it makes it rain.
Yeah.
I understand the concept. I mean,
yeah. And sometimes they'll use like the dropping of crystals to make that happen. Also, there's so much stuff that they put out there, man. I think a lot of that weather modification. I mean, you can look up some of these weather modification, like resource management companies and stuff, and because a lot of people don't believe it, it's really true. But you can look up these companies and go and visit and stuff, and they're saying, oh, how it helps, improve a cloud's ability to precipitate and blah blah blah. If you're seeding clouds, right? I mean, I can understand doing it in the desert. You know what I mean? Places like that, you don't get a lot of rainfall, but when you're messing with Mother Nature, you're severely changing the planet. You know what I mean?
No,
just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah, seeding is a good thing. I get it.
I think yes and no. I mean,
I've done it. I got 5 kids.
Well, if you're putting silver iodine or dry ice or any of these things into our atmosphere, these chemicals basically to make it rain, right? And these particles, these newly introduced particles, what are they doing to our bodies? You know what I mean? Like if you're raining down on people, I mean, I see 70-year-olds these days, man, 70-year-olds that remind me of 90-year-olds who have lost their mental capability, man. They're getting dementia, the first stage, second stage, third stage. You know what I mean?
She can't do this when we're leaving, Rebel.
Who?
She can't. Look who came in the chat.
Maggie's blog?
Megan's blog.
Yeah. But I see 70-year-olds who are getting dementia a lot earlier than people. I remember 10, 15, 20 years ago, I'd see 90-year-olds that were like square dancing, you know what I mean? Like who were out still having fun and doing stuff, like bingo, whatever, still smoking. And now I see 70-year-olds who are in worse health. I think that has a lot to do with technology. We're talking about food and the way, some of the things that they're introduced to in their life, now that wasn't introduced before. It saddens me, man. It really saddens me. I gotta say hello in the chat there.
I know. I had to say goodbye. Or I told Megan we're leaving in 10 minutes.
Yeah, 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
Rebel wanted to have an impromptu. Oh, Megan, it was so brilliant. You should have seen the beginning of this. When I came on and I said, so Rebel, is there a topic? and he starts talking about the technology breakthrough, and he gave this incredibly long thing. And I was like, dude, I told him the first thing I said is, "Are we going to be discussing E equals MC squared next?" It was hilarious. You took me by surprise, Rebel.
I wanted to talk about something else. I mean, because I think. Oh, I'm answering. My bad. I'm answering.
Oh, Megan doesn't want her heart broken. We're breaking her heart by leaving in 10 minutes. You'll survive, Megan. You'll do a blog.
It's okay. It's okay, Megan. I understand you're late. It's no big deal.
Late? You can't be late. You're just here. Oh,
Iron Fire Horse says things is just poverty. No, I don't think it's just poverty. I know wealthy people who are getting it at that age. It's 70s like the new 90. You know what I mean? And that's scary.
yeah, I like this, Megan, because this is Rebel's channel, so I don't really have to do anything other than just occasionally throw stuff out, you know. I let him talk, and then I just occasionally throw things out to act like I know what I'm talking about with technology.
That's funny.
Moleeds. It's Moleeds. Remember Moleeds?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Moleeds.
Yeah.
But Megan, I have no doubt that we'll find you somewhere on YouTube somewhere today. D-Lo Flo's laughing. Thanks for coming, everyone, by the way.
Definitely thanks for coming.
Yeah, nice casual little chat. Just hung out, kind of intimate, you know.
And we covered a lot of topics, a lot more than I was actually going to cover. I mean, the main thing I just wanted, how long do you think it's going to be before we're able to communicate with animals? And at that point, you know, the rights that they're going to have.
I mean, I think we did good. I think we hit 4 in the chat at one point. It was really hopping. Sorry, guys. You know me. I'm a comedian.
It's funny.
Just funning with you. Funning with everyone in the chat. Funning with my brother, Rebel.
Right.
I'm going to stop sharing and go back to, now I'm going to go back to Wacky for the final closeout of the show here.
Yeah, I'm going to close it out myself because I see everybody's up now. We got a whole day planned.
Came back to normal Wacky here.
Well, to answer your question, I think we will. I think we'll save energy equals mass times the speed of light squared for another day.
Tell Megan real quick. She had one question for you before you leave.
South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina.
Really?
Guys, I'm gonna go. I'll see you.
I can't do anything. It's his channel. I gotta go. Love you guys.
Oh, and Big Guys did win the drone. He was the first to actually comment.
For real?
Yep. Did you see? I looked at the very first comment. The first person to comment was actually Big Guys.
Wow.
If you guys don't know,
that's Australia, dude.
He's fast, man.
No, how are you gonna do that, man?
I don't know. I think it's probably about $60 just in shipping, at least. If you guys don't know, the first person, when I do a live stream or I do a video, first person to leave a comment wins a drone. I have a whole section over here in the corner, a whole box full of them.
You've got a video.
Yeah, I've got a video. It's a couple of videos back. If you guys check it out, how to win a drone. He'll explain them, what they are and what they look like. I'm
at his mercy. He's going to hit stop streaming, so.
I am. Much love to everybody. Thank you for coming, and I enjoy all of you. Appreciate it. It was a blast. Take care.